Sherlock Holmes 3 is confirmed, and here's everything we know about it. Plus, we've got the scoop on Sherlock Holmes Season 5 with Benedict Cumberbatch. So without further ado, let's dive in. For those who don't know, Sherlock Holmes 3 is the follow-up to 2011's Sherlock Holmes: A Game of Shadows, continuing the journey of Robert Downey Jr.'s Sherlock Holmes alongside Jude Law's Dr. John Watson. The first two films, both directed by Guy Ritchie, have grossed a combined $1 billion worldwide on a total production budget of just $215 million, proving the franchise's profitability for Warner Brothers. It's been over a decade since the second movie, and despite Guy Ritchie's Sherlock Holmes 3 being confirmed shortly after A Game of Shadows was released, the release date for the next RDJ and Jude Law adventure remains elusive. The third film has been stuck in development hell for several years, with various writers reportedly working on the story. Despite the delays, updates have been trickling in, and there's plenty to discuss regarding Sherlock Holmes 3. With the prequel series Young Sherlock currently in the works and Guy Ritchie directing, attention is turning back to the blockbuster movie franchise. Although news on the highly anticipated third installment has slowed, there's an encouraging update from the producer of Sherlock Holmes 3. Susan Downey has been a strong advocate for the project in recent years and has good news for fans. While she couldn't provide a concrete update, Downey mentioned that the project is still very much alive in our hearts, emphasizing that finding the right story direction is crucial. Robert Downey Jr. echoed this sentiment, stating, look, no, there's no update, other than it's still very much alive in our hearts. Every day we talk about what is the best next version of that, because anytime I see Robert and Jude together, which fortunately I do get to see a few times a year, we hang out and I'm just like, can I get these guys back on screen together? It's magic. There needs to be a really strong reason. It needs to be a great story, and we do have some things in the works. With young Sherlock on the horizon, excitement for the movie franchise is sure to build again. Sherlock Holmes 3 was first confirmed back in 2011, shortly after the release of A Game of Shadows. However, production was incredibly slow until things picked up again in 2018. In July 2019, it was confirmed that Rocketman filmmaker Dexter Fletcher had been recruited to direct the film. Unfortunately, there hasn't been any follow-up on this update in the years since, and no official reason was given for Guy Ritchie's replacement. Netflix's Narcos co-creator Chris Brancato was brought on by Warner Brothers to write the script for Sherlock Holmes 3. When Dexter Fletcher was attached to the project, a 2021 release window was set. However, this timeline never materialized, most likely due to the COVID-19 pandemic of 2020. No new release date has been announced since, and it's unclear if development on the delayed Sherlock Holmes 3 has picked up again. The cast of Sherlock Holmes 3 hasn't been officially confirmed, but Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law are expected to reprise their roles. Downey should be back as Sherlock Holmes, while Law is likely to return as Dr. John Watson. The rest of the cast is still up in the air and will depend on the story direction. There are plenty of classic Holmes stories that could be adapted for the new movie, even though the first two films had original plots. However, these original stories don't quite compare to Arthur Conan Doyle's beloved mysteries. Whatever the plot for Sherlock Holmes 3 ends up being, it was set up by the ending of Sherlock Holmes: A Game of Shadows. After foiling Professor Moriarty's plans to start a war in Europe, Holmes seemingly sacrifices himself to protect Watson and his new wife, Mary. However, it was revealed that Holmes survived, leaving the door wide open for a third story that doesn't necessarily have to follow Conan Doyle's writings. It's assumed that the story for Sherlock Holmes 3 will be a mystery that tests the duo's wits and puts them in mortal danger. The most likely scenario is a blend of Conan Doyle's works and modern Hollywood imagination to rejuvenate the franchise. A favorite among Holmes fans, the Hound of the Baskervilles, sees the detective on the case of an attempted murder inspired by a legendary supernatural dog. This timeless tale, adapted with the gloomy aesthetic established by Guy Ritchie, could be a perfect follow-up. It was Holmes's first appearance after his apparent death in The Final Problem, which heavily inspired A Game of Shadows. Inspired by The Final Problem, Sherlock Holmes: A Game of Shadows ends with Holmes' apparent death. To save Watson and Mary, he jumps off a balcony with Moriarty into the Reichenbach Falls. The final scene shows Watson receiving a package suggesting Holmes could be alive, and Holmes camouflaged in Watson's office. The third movie could start with Watson figuring out that Holmes is alive. Gloria Scott sees Holmes recounting his first ever mystery. This could be achieved using digital de-aging for Downey. Holmes solved his first case while in college, investigating a murder linked to his friend's father's mysterious past. At the end of A Game of Shadows, Watson and Mary were preparing for a honeymoon. The third movie could open with the couple on their honeymoon, with Holmes lurking in the background, ready to surprise Watson. If the third movie adapts Silver Blaze, it could feature Holmes's signature deer talker hat. This popular short story revolves around the search for a missing racehorse. Eddie Marzan, who played Inspector Lestrade in the previous films, could return in the third movie. Lestrade is shown to be increasingly frustrated with Holmes, but still relies on his help. The Speckled Band could be a self-contained story that subverts expectations after the large-scale first two movies. Holmes needs to save the life of a woman who hired him and solve her sister's mysterious death. Holmes and Watson's friendship has always had its struggles, with Watson's marriage threatening to tear their partnership apart. Downey and Law share fantastic chemistry, and it will be fascinating to see where the third movie goes with their dynamic. As for what we know about Benedict Cumberbatch's Sherlock Season 5, updates have been scarce. However, Mark Gatiss's latest TV special might influence the series' future. Gattis's adaptation of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's Lot No. 249, which aired in December 2023, didn't directly involve Sherlock, but slyly served as a prequel to the classic Holmes mythos. The ending introduced a young future Sherlock Holmes, potentially setting up another TV show set in Conan Doyle's original time period. This could be bad news for Sherlock Season 5, making it seem unnecessary, or it could be good news by reigniting interest in the series. While many fans have remained loyal, this prequel might attract those who have drifted away since the show ended in 2017. One of the biggest questions about Sherlock Holmes Season 5 is what its main plot could be, considering the best cases have already been used. Though there are still some cases left, a significant part of the series' charm was seeing classic cases unfold in a modern setting. Sherlock Holmes Season 4 wasn't a favorite among critics and viewers, but did provide a satisfying conclusion, cementing the partnership of Watson and Holmes. Despite the loose ends being tied up, Season 5 could still present the dynamic duo with new modern mysteries. Life or death stakes aren't always necessary for engaging mysteries, as many cozy British mystery programs have shown. Alternatively, Sherlock Holmes Season 5 could disregard continuity and simply ignore the Season 4 ending. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Your suggestions for future videos are always welcome in the comments below.